Hey there, I'm Sharlene Stiles, and if you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but your body just isn't responding the way that it once did, this video is for you. I recently gave a talk on metabolism, women's health, hormone health, and particularly menopause stage of life. And there were so many great questions in the chat that we didn't get a chance to get to. So that's what I'm going to do here today. I'm going to answer them. So let's bust some myths, share the truths, and give you clarity on what you were asking and what actually supports your body at this stage of life. So, a big question, and the first one that landed at the top of the list for me was, does alcohol affect your metabolism? So, it's probably no surprise that yes, of course it does. Actually, everything that we take in from the external world and transform into usable energy affects us in some way, shape, or form. So, it either adds to our energy or depletes it. So, particularly in midlife, maybe when our tolerance has changed, maybe accumulative effects that have changed, or maybe actually your tolerance has not changed, but when our hormonal landscape has changed, definitely alcohol is always going to have an impact on our metabolism. So you see, the first thing is alcohol is considered a neurotoxin to our system. So it hijacks basically our body's detox priority. So the body sees alcohol as an invader, as something that is a potential threat. So it stalls and halts all other non-essential functions to deal with this offender. So what that's going to do is pause digestion. It can raise your cortisol. It can raise your estrogen levels. It changes your detoxification pathways priority. So this can mess with our blood sugar as well, and of course impact our sleep. So this isn't about like never drinking again when you reach midlife or menopausal stage. It's just really about noticing how it actually makes you feel and then choosing from a place of awareness. So I hope that's helpful. The next question was, is there one cycle or system or method that will jumpstart metabolism? And we talked about that there's no magic pill, no one magic bullet that's going to take care of absolutely everything. When we look at things from a holistic perspective, it really is a multitude of factors that support our body synergistically at the same time. So the way I would start is one, start by balancing blood sugar. We talked about it in the session that day, but balancing blood sugar really starts with protein, complex carbohydrates that have fiber in them. So fibrous complex carbohydrates as well as fat at every meal, protein, fats, and carbs at every meal. 3 meals ideally per day to help keep regulate your blood sugar. And then next thing is to build muscle. We talked about that as well. So strength training is really a game changer, and that gets fueled by the protein consumption that we have in our diet. And then, of course, the third thing that I would focus on if we're zeroing in on sleep. This is deep sleep. This is where we heal, where we repair. It helps reset our hormones, our cravings, defrags our brain, and just gets everything humming quite nicely and happily and harmoniously together. So when those three things are in place, I do believe you'll feel a really big shift. That's where I would start. Next question was, should we eat protein or carbs, but not together? I think this is a bit of a common myth, and the truth is that our body should be able to digest proteins and carbs at the same time, just as it's designed to. So when things get tripped up or your digestion becomes impaired, your gut can be more sensitive to the digestion process or may not be happening as optimally as it should. So in fact, what we talked about earlier about balancing blood sugar, having protein, fat, and good complex carbohydrates at every meal is the thing that's going to help you stabilize the blood sugar, support your energy, support your mood, and reduce those cravings. So I would say the goal is not to separate these foods, but it's really to help balance them. Another question was, are ashwagandha or magnesium glycinate good for lowering cortisol? And yeah, again, there's no magic bullet, right? Like there's not one thing that we can do and it's just gonna, oh, the angels are going to sing, the clouds are parted. Um, so they can certainly be helpful, but they are not just the one and only thing. So ashwagandha, as you may know, is a beautiful adaptogen. Adaptogen just means it gives you more or down regulates what you don't need. So more of what you need or down regulates what you don't need. So this can really help our body respond to stress, which is a really big thing in most of the women that I deal with. Magnesium glycinate, yes, absolutely. This is a beautiful kind of well-rounded form of magnesium, can help support relaxation. It can help with sleep, with nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system, so calming the nervous system. Um, I would always, though, first understand the root cause of where the stress is coming from. Like, have you underslept? Have you underate? Is it emotional, psychological? Are you overdoing it? Are you overfed? So supplements are tools, supportive tools. They are not, the fix, if you will. What hormone levels should I aim for was another question. And this is a great question and probably a little bit too in depth for this level of video. I would highly suggest that to work with a practitioner, a functional practitioner or a natural healthcare practitioner, or even your conventional practitioner. Um, that's a little bit questionable if you're getting the answers that you're actually looking for. But most lab ranges are very wide. What they do is they give a general kind of a range to avoid dis-ease. It doesn't mean optimal levels, so these are kind of just acceptable levels, if you will. And actually, it's interesting how many have changed over time. Like blood pressure is one of them. How that marker has changed over time. So um, what is normal, what falls into normal range is not what's optimal. I'll see if I can link up maybe some of the markers that I would be looking at or asking your practitioner to assess. So I would say, having a direct contact with someone that you know and trust and understanding, what it is particularly that you're looking for. So we need to look at symptoms and patterns and as well as the lab results entirely. So I personally use lab testing when possible to get a full range of metabolic function. So, if you are looking, for general kind of health, I mean, I think you have to be clear on what it is you're looking for. So, is it thyroid? Is it cortisol? Is it your microbiome? Is it your stool? Like, what are you actually concerned about? So that may dictate what particular markers you're looking for. As I mentioned, I think I do lab testing when working with my clients to look at metabolic function overall. So we're looking at a more generalized um, how many systems and functions are working together, not just specifically like hormones like thyroid. But I'll see if I can link something up here below to actually and just list for you what to be looking for. The next question here is gut and inflammation. How do I fix my gut health? This is a big question and perhaps something you may need some help with because this can be kind of complex. It's layered. So again, it's not like one magic bullet. So I would first start by noticing what may be offending you. Like, what is the thing that's irritating? So common irritants would be sugars or things that turn quickly to sugar. Most people think, oh, I don't sit at the table and just eat a tablespoon of sugar. Of course not. But we eat foods that are not very nutrient dense and very carb heavy. So they convert to glucose very quickly. So that's something to consider. So processed foods, things with any additives, chemicals, preservatives, and of course, too much alcohol and even too much caffeine can really impair digestion. So then we want to look at like how do we heal and repair the gut. So one of the beautiful ways that you can do that is using bone broth. Fermented vegetables will be helpful for prebiotics, probiotics, ginger, Ginger, onions, garlic, those kinds of things will feed the microbiome as well. And same with fiber. So, again, coming back to the complex carbohydrates, they're complex because they have fiber. So, that fiber is what's going to be feeding your microbiome and the good bacteria. So, you can also you can also test how your digestion is doing in a number of ways, but a stool test might be something to consider if you're looking at much deeper imbalances, like pathogens or yeast, to understand what's actually going on. So I think that that kind of covers it. I will just say that every person, what may be inflammatory to one person may not be to another. So it's how our body is able to digest and process. So I just listed some common kind of offenders. But you may already know what is actually an irritant to you. And just be cautious of that. Like your body is a really great signal and feedback loop. So just paying attention to her and what is she trying to communicate with you. The next question was, do probiotics or probiotic powders help? Yeah, of course. They certainly can. Again, um, not a one size fits all, but yes, we're trying to feed the microbiome, and particularly with gut health, probiotics can certainly help. And it's not a one size fits all, right? Depends on what the deficiency is. And this is why, rather than carpet bombing and just trying any kind of product that's out there, I would first of all understand what it is you're trying to correct. Perhaps consult with someone that knows what they're doing. Shortcut your way so that you're not just spending your time, your effort, and your money on doing things that aren't going to get you or move the needle forward. And then you just end up frustrated and thinking something's wrong with you. And then you just spend more time and frustration that way, anyhow. So, um, different probiotics serve different needs. There's tons of different types of bacteria strains, and I think we are just scratching the surface in the nutrition world on the importance and the depth of the bacteria, this like little inner city. We are more bacteria than we are of human cells, which is really quite fascinating. So, um, yes, definitely probiotics can help in terms of when we're going in to renovate and, fix an issue or help support the body. Of course, the most bioavailable options would be food, but if you can't digest the food, we need to support the digestion first. I think I'll pause here and record another video for the remaining questions because I just want to kind of keep this short and succinct. So I hope that you've got the information that you were looking for, and if not, please come back to the second video. Your question may be answered in that one. Okay, hope you're well, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.